Well, just doing a quick video here. Had some running problems with my 2005 Sportster 1200 carbureted, and I could never figure out what it was. At idle, it would run rich and blow black out the pipes when I revved it up, and then I turned the idle screw in all the way, trying to lean it out. This would never lean out, and then when you come to a stop, it would either run fast or run slow or die. So I found out, luckily, on the Excel forums that the simple Petcock valve is actually a vacuum-operated valve. So it won't flow fuel until the engine's started and a vacuum shows up, or when you're cranking and a vacuum shows up, and then it'll flow fuel. So what will happen is the vacuum line that comes to the pump, to the back section, would have been there. That line off your top of your carburetor, the top right behind the diaphragm for your CV carburetor, there's a little kind of a spout coming up with a hose connected between the carb and your Petcock valve, and that's the vacuum line. So that vacuum line is drawing fuel direct from the Petcock out right into the carburetor. So raw fuel bypassing the whole carburetor circuit and going straight into the engine through the intake. So that's kind of what was going on there, and now that I found out what it was, I'll show you what it was. It was this seal right here. This seal here had torn up, and it goes down in the center of this half of the valve. So far I've put some JB weld in the bottom of the valve here and the top. So I'm basically just going to bypass the whole vacuum process of this Petcock. It has to be a standard Petcock with your on, reserve, and off, and all that stuff. So I could get a new one, but I live in a smaller town, so I'd have to wait a week to get it by mail, or I could go to Harley Davidson and probably pay like $150, $200 for one. So I'm just going to JB weld this solid, use the old seal here to seal it up. I cut it out with a scalpel off the original valve. And I cut that off the original valve and went around this piece here. The little diaphragm went in and out, letting the fuel on and off. So I cut that out cleanly. And then I'll use that to seal up against that surface there. I'll use some blue, or well, any color. Not silicone, but kind of a machine face sealant. I think Permatex makes it, and it's good for fuel and will seal well. So that, and then this for gasket, that for gasket, and then onto the face of the Petcock. Just scuffed it slightly with sandpaper so the sealant will grab it well and stay and not get pushed out. And that'll be about it. And I'll put the line back on off the carburetor and probably seal that a little bit too, because I don't want a vacuum leak being created there. Like, the benefits of having the vacuum Petcock is that something goes wrong and the bike shuts down. You'll see you lay it down or something and it smacks the carburetor or what have you. In theory, the Petcock should close, so it's going to kind of prevent a fuel leak coming out of there anyway. But that's the one benefit. The negatives are there's a good source for a vacuum leak from the carburetor to here, and a great source for overreaching your engine and possibly even flooding your engine and contaminating your oil and running your cylinders, washing them down. It's a lot of cylinder wear, if not worse. So I don't really kind of weighing out the options and the cost is like I'm just going to go with convert this to a manual. Like thousands of bikes out there, Petcock valve, and that's good enough. Not going to bother with the vacuum stuff. Okay, I'll try to have another bit of video of the system installed. Yeah, so here's my tank. Got it out. There's the Petcock. Just went in there. So I just put some rags there for now, just to keep the fumes out and in. And just plugged up the vent hole that comes out to the bottom, and that piece clips onto your frame. And here's the vent line here off the carburetor, right in the back, right down there. So it's hard to see with the tank on and everything. And a great source of fuel to dump in, because once it's into there, you can see it's past the carburetor. It's right into the intake. So you can adjust your carb any way you want. It's not going to help. It's just going to keep on dumping fuel in, and you'll wonder what's going on. And then, bizarrely enough, it's the Petcock up on the tank that's causing the whole grief. So anyway, if you have super rich idling, like burning your eyes and stinking like fuel, check out your vacuum operated Petcock. So here's the vacuum line that jumps between the Petcock and the carb. Every time you have your air filter off, or especially your carb off, I suggest to put a little vacuum on here and see if any fumes or any fuel at all comes out. If anything's coming out, then it's just going to richen up your mixture and lead to bad times on your bike. You can look down here and it'll look dry as a bone, because the hot engine and everything in the gas will vaporize, instantly. So you have to put a vacuum on it, suck on it basically, and see what comes out. If anything comes out at all, time to change it out. Change out your Petcock, or reseal it, or replace it, or what have you. And it's right back in there. So it's not too bad to get to. You can pop it off the tank on, but it's hard again. If you want to, you can pop it off this side, run it through the other side, and put some vacuum on over there to see if anything comes out. Okay, have a great day. Thanks.